Hi there, this is Sylvie from the website sylviesoul.com. I am a former fanfiction writer turned fiction writer who's working towards her goal of writing her first novel. And it's been a while since I've been on camera. I'm in new angle, new equipment. It's new exciting times, and I know it's been a while, but I just wanted to get back on because I wanted to make another video. Today's video, I don't want this video to come off as hypercritical, and I want it to maybe act more like a PSA more than anything else, not just to the person that I'm addressing, but to the audience that she may follow, because I'm a huge fan of this creator that I'm going to discuss, but I feel like someone should take them to task for promoting the platform they are promoting to other writers. Perhaps I'm getting ahead of myself. This video is going to be about the YouTuber Zulie Rane. If you're a writer, if you're an aspiring writer, and especially if you're a writer on Medium, then I'm sure you've heard of Zulie Rane. She's very prolific. She does interviews with many other content creators on Medium and on other sites. She gives very useful advice on how to optimize one's content on Medium, and I've actually taken a few cues from her as well in both my writing and in my YouTube videos. It was actually her that inspired me to do a kind of Zulie-esque style video talking about my experience with competing writing platform Vocal Media. So 99% of the things Zulie Rane talks about, I'm 100% on board for, and I think most new and aspiring writers should adapt as a way to hone their skills and to improve at content writing. But lately there was this one thing that she did that I just had to speak up because I felt like it would be irresponsible for me to not comment on the platform that she is promoting. I'm going to take a step back and just give a brief anecdote. So in 2020, I'd lost my job. I was furloughed and eventually let go from a job that I had. And in the midst of me doing interviews and scrambling to find a new job, I decided to take that opportunity to really get into writing, or more importantly, writing for money online. So early on in my experimentation of just writing for money, I stumbled upon a company that was looking for, I guess the correct term is narrative design, or writers for a special mobile app. You might have seen these really corny, cheesy ads advertised on Facebook or on Twitter. It's usually like a choose your own adventure with a romantic lean. I think in that sense, it was one of those. But I was intrigued, and I thought it'd be a neat little way to make money. So I sent a writing sample, and the company wrote back to me and said, "Yeah, we'll take you." So they sent me a contract. I read over the contract. Everything seemed reasonable. We had I had a couple Zoom onboarding meetings with some of the people who worked for the company, and everything seemed good to go. I just had one tiny question. So the company was based in China, and initially the people who were writing for this app, they were getting paid by PayPal. For some reason, that method of payment had stopped, and then they were doing something akin to wire transfer, and then after a while the payments just slowed to a crawl where people weren't getting paid for like months at a time. When I saw that people weren't getting paid on PayPal, I'm like, okay, well, how are people getting paid? How are people getting measured on their writing from this app? Because there's a lot of different threads with Choose Your Own Adventure. So you basically are taking a narrative and multiplying it by the amount of choices you have. That could be a lot of words, and that's a lot of writing. You want to make sure you're getting properly compensated. So, innocent question enough, I asked, hey, how are people getting paid? A bit of radio silence, and then the person that I talked to left the company. And if that wasn't bad enough, about a few days later, the person that person worked for also left the company. So I'm just like at that point, and I'm like, well, I'm definitely not going to write a single word until I know how we're getting paid, if we're getting paid at all. So I wrote to the individual's replacement, the person I was replacing, the person I'd spoke to during the onboarding call, and I asked them the same question. So after a while, someone did get back to me, and they basically said, yeah, well, we got bought out, but no worries, we're in a transition phase. Totally fine. We're going to keep you. We just need you to re-sign this new contract. So they give me this new contract, and it's worse than the one that I had before. While the first contract had a rate, the new contract left the rate blank. The line was totally blank. There was no rate written. So I believe the intent was we would be onboarded and write X amount of words, and then, and only then, after they had vetted the quality of the work, would they determine a rate. So you're basically doing God knows how many thousands of words for free or pro bono until they deem you worthy to actually get paid. So I was like, thanks, no thanks. And I promptly left the company after that. And it was a bit disappointing. I was so excited initially when they accepted me. So it was a real letdown that things kind of fizzled and crashed the way they did. A little addendum to that story. I looked up the company a few weeks after this whole debacle, and they were advertising for writers on Twitter. And I kid you not, the requirements in the post that they tweeted stated that they wanted writers who were able to commit to a novel of 3 million to 5 million words. I just want you to let that sink in for a minute. 3 million to 5 million words. Look at this. Look at this beast right here. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I'm reading this. I'm not done yet. I know I'm the slowest reader, but beyond that, look at this brick of a tome. Do you know how many words are in this? 257,000. So do the math. They want 3 million words for a mobile game app. 3 million words for a mobile game app. 3 million words for a mobile game app. 257,000, 3 million words. So I think that's all I really have to say. Like, you could just tell from that whole experience that either this company didn't understand what goes into crafting writing or crafting a novel, or they were really taking advantage of the writers. And I have to assume the latter, because that's ridiculous to want a novel's worth of writing for pennies on the dollar. Anyway, so what does this have to do with Zulie Rane? Well, as I said, 99% of the things that Zulie Rane talks about, I'm on board with. She mentioned Newsbreak, she mentions vocal media, she mentions different ways and methods to make money, and I'm fine with that. A few weeks ago, Zulie talked about how she was testing the waters of fiction writing when she stumbled upon this platform called Stary Writing. And when I read that, alarm bells started going off in my head. And the reason why these alarm bells were going off is because I write for Wattpad. I don't make money on Wattpad. I write for fun. I'm a former fanfiction writer. A few years ago, I was approached on Wattpad in my inbox by a company that seemed to like my writing. Then they wanted me to migrate from Wattpad onto their platform. So naturally, I was curious. They did say there was the potential to make money and gain an audience. So I did a quick Google search and was swiftly met with information on how predatory this platform was. The platform in question that I was approached by was Web Novel. And they're in the practice of essentially poaching Wattpad writers and bringing them on their platform so that they can sign a contract that's not going to benefit the writer at all. Or they want the writers to sign a contract, get locked in, and write copious amount of words for their platform. So while there is, yes, the potential to make money on Web Novel, the contract is usually so sketchy and so not suited to the writer's best interest that it would be foolish to accept for any amount of money. While I wasn't approached by Starry, it's very apparent that all these sort of sites that poach writers are very similar. Stary Writing, Web Novel, Dream I've heard of. These sites go after writers, and it's a choice to go after a Wattpad writer, because I imagine a lot of these writers are young and inexperienced and don't really know the industry. And they go to them with promises of fame and an audience and money. And then, oh, by the way, sign this contract. And again, if you're young and inexperienced, you're going to sign anything just for the chance to make money. So I was really taken aback when Zulie kind of doubled down on promoting Stary Writing, which is just one of many of these predatory companies that poach aspiring writers and lock them into bad contracts. She did a Medium post about it, and she also went as far as to interview someone on YouTube about the platform. And no fault to the guest. I assume that they're being truthful, and I assume that they were successful in making money through the platform. But I think Zulie's viewers need to understand that that's not the norm. In fact, a beautiful rebuttal video on YouTube that would explain much better than I why Dream or Stary Writing or Web Novel are not platforms that you want to get involved with. There's this writer / YouTuber by the name of Julian Greystoke, and she goes in depth on the whole process of how these companies work. And it's really fascinating because she also talks about the reason why you don't hear a lot of people badmouth the company is because they could get financially penalized. I think it's part of the contract that if you sign up with any of these companies, you do not speak ill of them, or you will be financially punished. I'm just at a loss for why Zulie would want to promote this. Maybe she doesn't know this method of gaining followers through fiction writing. It's not it. It's not. There are much better ways. I think she mentioned briefly how Amazon is not the way to go, and I'm like, why not? It's in a way it's better. You have the freedom to at least go on Amazon KDP and write up whatever and make a cover and post it, and the money goes to you. You don't have to sign these contracts and sign away your life to a company that's like not going to pay you or slave drive you to produce content. I just want to get on there and just do a rebuttal video to Zulie Rane's Stary Writing and ask everyone who watched it, please do your homework. There are other ways to make money. There are especially other ways to make money writing fiction. You can, as I said, do self-publishing on Amazon KDP. You can write on Medium, even though Medium doesn't really celebrate fiction writing as well as their articles and nonfiction. You can go on Vocal Media. Vocal Media has contests. It at least gives you the potential to get your work out there and to build an audience, and yes, to make money. There's even this new site that I haven't even talked about yet, Simile. It's very new on the scene. I don't know if it's going to last, but they're paying writers 2 cents per view. Go there for fiction writing. They're encouraging fiction writing. But I don't know. Zulie, why? Why are you supporting this? Do not support this. And again, I don't want this to be like a diss track of a YouTube video. I don't want this to be just a big criticism of Zulie Rane. Zulie, I love your work. I'm one of your biggest fans, and I watch all your videos, and I respect what you have to say about writing and how to make money writing, but you cannot support Stary Writing. You're misleading writers. You're misleading amateur, aspiring writers. I urge you to make a follow-up video, at least explaining the success you've had on Stary, if you've had any at all, because I understand you were at least testing the platform. But if you can please just clarify that there are other and possibly better ways to make money through fiction writing. That's all I have to say. Excuse the rant. Zulie, I love you. Please don't get mad. But I just, I had to say something because there are better ways. There are much better ways. So that's all I have to say for today. If you enjoyed this video, please follow me here on YouTube. You can also follow my website, sylviesoul.com. I don't post every week anymore. I'm now every third week of the month. But I hope you're able to still find value from the content. So anyway, that's all I have to say for now. Happy New Year and goodbye. her bread and butter appears to be nonfiction writing because she's so successful in Medium. So maybe she just doesn't know that this way of gaining an audience, it's not the way. It's not the way. It's not the way. No,